Hello, everybody. As you're all coming in, Paige, I just sent you an email, but it's good. I saw that you just logged in. Let's see here. I put myself in space. Flower. So what happens if I try to grab that butterfly? Let's see, what is it? Raise, you're logging in. Cody, did you get my email about the video thing that you should go ahead and do it?
Yeah, I got your text.
Okay, good. Okay. I'll wait a few more minutes here. Okay, I'm just going to start. If others want to log in, they can. So we've actually got a pretty easy day today because I don't want I don't want the progress that we can make on. Hi Karen, we're just starting right now. I don't want the progress that we can potentially be making on the Bloomberg stuff to be lost. I know it took like, what, 3 weeks or 4 weeks, far too long, but I think it's all figured out. So basically, here's what I'm kind of hoping. Some of you might be logged in. How about this? Let me go in the chat feature. Tell me, at least by chat, if you are not doing this on a computer right now, like if you're just doing this on your phone. Is anyone not doing this on a computer?
I'm on an iPad.
Oh, that'll work. iPad will work. iPad will work. Computer will work. You could do it by phone, but it'd just be a pain in the ass. Is everyone all good? I'm just looking in the chat here. Because everything through Bloomberg is now all finalized. I know a few of you, I saw Jerry, I saw you've kind of even started on the Bloomberg market concepts, which is good. Russell, I know you and I talked briefly about you being able to log in. Cody, you said you could. But I actually just want to spend the bulk of my time getting you pumped up and ready to start doing this. So, okay.
Yeah, I got in, but it was buggy. Like windows were popping up.
Oh yeah, yep, that's exactly what happened. Yep, it looks like a I don't even know what to call it,
I couldn't find like where do you, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna go over it, but like I couldn't even find where to type in a ticker symbol or anything.
Yeah, yeah, we can do that. We absolutely can do that. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so let's sorry, just 1 second here. One second. Sorry, I'm just going to take a picture of our meeting ID code so that Frese has got it. Okay, so I'll go here and go to screen, and I will start the broadcast. Okay, so here's really what I want you to focus on, certainly this week, is I want you to focus on at least getting to the point where you're comfortable with logging into Bloomberg. Make that one of your priorities this week. And the other priority this week would be certainly that you get through the first module of the Bloomberg market concepts, because it's a rather easy one. Jerry, I don't know how far you got into it. I saw you were working on it, but I mean, I'm in the bonds one right now, and that's like the third one. I know the material, but you're just watching the video, and it's just slow going. So just be aware some of the other modules are going to take a little bit longer here. But let's start this here. So if you can't see can everyone see my just like my iPad screen right now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay. So again, very first up, I know some of you again know these things already. Just bear with me. Okay. So everyone, at least on your computer or whatever you're on, go to portal.bloombergforeducation.com. So let's just all start there. So portal.bloombergforeducation.com. And again, this is all recorded too, so if you're really, really lost, you could just watch for the fun of it. But portal.bloombergforeducation.com. Now, I'm not going to switch back to Zoom. Does everyone have a login at this point? Or if you don't have a login, just say something right now, because then we'll just wait. Does everyone have a login?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anyone say they do not. So everyone then should log in at this point once you're on portal.bloombergforeducation.com. Make sure everyone is on it that needs to be on it. Yes. So see, basically what shows up for me here is I can see, if you can see my screen here, I can see that Stephen, for instance, has a Bloomberg login. Levi does, Russell does, Cody does, Jerry does, who else does? Okay, so then, right, so Karen, I saw you're on, Michael, I saw you're on. You then are up to the step of, yours will say, I think if I'm not mistaken, it'll say like terminal access. Is that correct? Is that right? For everyone else, when you're looking at the top of your screen, does it say terminal access? Or what does it say?
It says, so it logged us into the Bloomberg market concepts, and then there's BMC case studies, and then terminal access at the top.
Yep. So click on terminal access. Now at this point, I actually have no idea what you see because I can't see what you see because I don't have to use your shared student terminals. So someone tell me what you are, wait, actually, no, I know how to do this in Zoom. Does someone want me to make you the host that you can show us what you're doing? Does someone want to be willing to do it? That I can make them the host? Or someone, how do I make someone the host here? Let's figure this out. Karen, do you know how to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make you the host.
Okay,
I made
fine.
you the host already. I already did it. Okay,
Okay.
you're the host. Okay, so now you're gonna share with us your screen.
Okay.
Do you know how to do that?
Yes.
Okay. This is so cool. We're really using Zoom for all good things.
So this is what it shows.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So then everyone kind of see here. So Karen, the reason why I picked Karen is because she's actually starting at the point where she has to actually create the account. So for everyone else in the class, is everyone at this point? If you're not at this point, this would be your time to say, I'm not at this point yet. Now, I should say as well, Cody is going to make a video as well. I kind of want to just walk with everyone through a little bit about what the terminal can do. Okay, so you can see here, Karen has started. She had to use her hawaii.edu email address, and she's going to enter in her phone number. Now, no one get be creepers or anything.
Can
Karen,
I like stop sharing and then share it after?
yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Because I don't want to get.
No, absolutely, dude. You never, don't trust anyone in this world. Look both ways when you cross.
Hey, Shadi?
Yeah.
What's happening from my screen is I'll log on. It will send me a code, a verification code. I'll send that through, and it will revert me back to the same login screen.
Yep. Same with me. Yep. It does the same thing. I'm not sure why. Yeah. It's just a glitch. I'm not sure why it does that.
So I have to
But it does
create
the same thing with me.
Okay, so I went through that like code thing that he's talking about.
Yep. So Karen, the very first thing Karen was doing was she was putting in her phone number. Now, like Russell was pointing out, that phone number is very important. Don't use like a burner number. Don't be like, 555-5555. Use your actual legit phone number because it's going to send you a code each time you want to log in. So Karen at this point would have typed in her email address at the top, her hawaii.edu email address. Then for verification purposes, she put in her cell phone number. Then she clicked next. And now what are you seeing now?
I just have to create. So they gave me a username, a Bloomberg terminal username, and then
Okay, can you show us your screen very quickly just so we can see what you see?
Oh, I did it already.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So then, see, at this point, then you're on step 3, or did you go through all the steps?
I went through all of it. So instead of sending it
all
to
the
your
steps,
phone,
right? All the other steps were just like set up a password, right? They weren't like anything fancy or anything like that, right?
But you can send the code to your email instead of your phone if you want.
Okay, sure. So now you can see here now, I mean, Karen could write it down, or she knows it's always going to be here, but that's her Bloomberg terminal username. Now notice her terminal username is different than her BMC login, so she's going to have 2 different usernames to manage. She could use the same password for both. I guess nothing stops her from doing that, but you can see now that basically she has to follow this step where she's going to have to go in through BMC. She's going to always have to start out on this portal.bloombergforeducation.com site. Then she's going to have to go to bba.bloomberg.net. So that's what she's going to do next. Okay, so now it's going to open up in a separate window here. Okay. And then she's going to start to log in.
Does it have to be like all caps?
I don't think so. No.
Shadi, who's logging in right now?
Yeah, she's logging into the Bloomberg terminal. See, now it says here, email, right? She wants to get an email, so she's going to get an email or text or call or something. And she's going to wait to get the code, her secret code.
Oh, Shining, are we supposed to log in right now at the Bloomberg
Yeah.
Universe?
Yep. So start logging in if you. Okay, so now she's going to do the launch just the Bloomberg terminal. Yeah, allow it.
Okay.
Now it does this all through the browser. I have found the best luck with Chrome, but that doesn't really mean very much.
Shining, the login name the login name we use at the Bloomberg screen is going to be the same one that we made.
No, the one that you made for Bloomberg, portal.bloombergforeducation.com, that's the one you use to set up your terminal name. So once you get to Bloomberg for Education, the portal.bloombergforeducation.com, then you go to Terminal Access, and then you have to follow the steps to setting up your Bloomberg login. But don't worry, Mike. We can look at this really. You and I can do this right after this if you want to just watch this, or you can kind of play around and see if you can get it too. Either way. Or Cody's going to make a video too. Now, Karen might be taking a while here because maybe her brothers want. Do you have a brother, Karen? Right? Don't you? Or yeah, your brother's probably watching Netflix or something, and she's hosting the video. It says open downloaded.
I'm confused.
Shining, what are we supposed to do after the code is sent through? Because it just reverts me right back. It's weird.
I'm just gonna go to Chrome and redo it because.
Okay.
So I have to sign in through Portal and then go to the terminal accesses.
Yes.
I think you said we got in order to make the Bloomberg account, we go to Terminal Access, and then what?
You should be able to, once you're in Terminal Access, you should have the instructions for setting up your Bloomberg terminal name.
Okay.
Okay. And again, if you do it right now, I can authorize you right now for anyone that's still doing it. So Michael, I can actually see that you've already got your Bloomberg terminal name. I can see you were assigned one. Russell, you got yours. Cody, you got yours. Jerry, you got yours. Paige, I just enabled you to do yours. So now you should be able to follow that terminal access link.
Shining, is there a way to like delete me so that when I do the video, it will be from scratch?
Even better, Cody. An excellent question that you asked. I've created I've sent in a request to create a new hawaii.edu email address, and you're going to use that to make your video.
Okay.
Yep. I was already thinking ahead.
Shining, where do we get? So I saw what you're talking about. I found my login name, but where did I get the password from? Is that going to be the same
that would be the password you would have set up for terminal access.
for Terminal Access?
Yep, you would have set that up yourself. Now, Russell, were you the one that was saying that you're logging in and now it's like kicking you back out? Or?
Yes, sir.
What are you using, an Apple or a PC?
I'm on a PC. So I just, the code comes through, I punch it in, and it goes right back to the same login.
Right.
And then I just,
But then do you log in again?
yeah, I just click login and it goes. Right now I'm doing it. It's how would you like the code sent or whatever. Then I press send. It sends me the code, and then I do the same thing over again. It goes right back to that login page, the one before it. I don't know how I did it last night because I got in last night.
Yeah, we don't have, okay, so, I mean, the only limit we have here, which I don't think is going to be affecting us right now, is that no more than, yeah, it's not going to be affecting us because even right now, if all of us are logged in, that's only 7 of you. So we have 12 licenses. So everyone could be logged in right now, and we shouldn't have any problems. Russell, do you want me to make you the host here for a second and you show us what's going on with you?
I'm not doing it on my iPad. I'm doing it on my PC.
Oh, that's fine. No, I can still make you the host.
But no, my Zoom is on a different device.
Oh, I understand. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a separate computer.
No, I understand.
From what I see, where Karen also got stalled at, where it says open downloaded launch ICA file, it's asking to launch a separate application, and when I try to launch it, it says I don't have an application that can read the file.
Yeah,
So-
I got that too.
So
I don't know how to open mine.
I have the same problem.
Like the Citrix one, is that what you guys are talking about?
It's like when you download the, like to open the program, I guess, like we can't open it. Like we
Okay.
downloaded it, but we can't open it because it's not.
It says Citrix receiver is required on the bottom of the page, the login page.
I'm downloading that file right now.
Yep.
And I'll let you know how it goes.
Because I did that. So I had that same issue because I was using it on an Apple computer just to test things out. I downloaded the Citrix thing, and then once I did that, it did work.
Okay, I'm doing that right now.
Okay, I mean, because there's 2 sides to this, right? So the other side to this is you can. So we're gonna try to work through this. We're gonna work through little technical problems that many of us are having. We're gonna try to work through that, and then, but that's still, unfortunately for all of you who don't want to do it, it's not gonna stop any of you from still doing the Bloomberg Market Concepts part of it, which is what you can still do using the portal website. So you can still go through. You can still go through that using the website. Okay, so we're waiting for Cody to tell us.
Can you make me host?
Yeah. Happily. Oh wait, no, I can't. Karen, can you make Cody the host? Sorry. Karen, you have to make Cody the host.
Okay. I got it.
There you go, Cody.
Okay, hold on.
I forgot my password.
That's all right, Karen.
I'm making new ones because I keep forgetting.
Me too. Me too.
Hold on, it's not letting me share my screen right now.
Okay.
I don't know how to share my screen. It's not.
Go up to share content at the top on green. Yep, there you go.
There.
Okay, wait, that's not what I want to share though, because the terminal that opens is in a separate window.
It'll show up. If it shows up on your screen, go to share content and go to, yeah, it looks like it's all working for you, dude.
Okay. Do you want to use microphone and webcam with? Sure. Why not?
Okay, well, your screen looks a little screwy now, but it could just be your bandwidth. Maybe your roommate's watching Hulu.
Porn.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing because my screen is also very cluttered because of that.
Yep. So this is we'll call this the Russell phenomenon. The Russell phenomenon is the idea that a whole bunch of windows do pop up. It's and the reason why that happens is because the people who use Bloomberg terminals typically have a dual screen setup, so it doesn't look like the fuckfest of windows, all appearing on your little iPad screen, right? Those guys have got like big, 30-inch monitors and,
So
like
at
that.
this screen, I need to log in each time? There's no like remember me function, and
Nope, nope.
It'll send me an email code each time.
Correct.
Okay, just checking.
Yep. Yeah, there's no remember me. Yeah, because you don't. Bloomberg doesn't want anyone to be remembered because they want to make sure each and every time someone logs in that they're legit supposed to be.
I'm making you host again.
Okay. Okay. Yep, I think I'm the host now, yes. Okay, so it looks like Cody got through. Russell, what's going on with you, dude?
I just finished the Citrix. I'm about to try it again.
Okay,
Do we have to
we're gonna
open
wait
the
for-
file? Open the file?
Yeah, Cody, can you tell Russell, but then I guess all of us? So what did you do? You downloaded the Citrix installer.
And then
You open the file?
I just relogged in as usual and opened the file, and it cluttered my screen.
No, but so what did you do? So you download the Citrix thing. It goes to your downloads folder. Then all you did is you went back to like portal.bloombergforeducation.com, terminals, and then just did the whole process again. Or what did you do?
Yeah, I basically from scratch, after I downloaded it, relogged into Bloomberg, and it sent me a second code again with a file, and it automatically opened the file. And
Oh, okay, so you didn't even have to install the downloaded file, or you did?
I think the first time that I logged in, it downloaded that file, and then I couldn't open the file. Then the second time I had the application to open the file, and that was what made it automatic. You know what I'm saying? Like the file was already.
So
If
like
not, then it sent a second file or something. Let me check my downloads.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to, just so for everyone else's sake.
Oh,
So it's downloading a Citrix file to your downloads folder, to your whatever, your desktop or whatever. But typically, right, when you download something like that, you typically have to double click it and open it. Did you have to do that, or does it just kind of exist there in the background?
I think
No, you have to install the Citrix on your computer.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be for everyone's purposes here. After you've got and then Cody or Russell or anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, what you would do is you would go to portal.bloombergforeducation.com, terminal access. You'd make sure you have your terminal ID set up. Then I would enable it on my end, and then you'd be able to go in and be able to log in. But once you get your terminal ID, you then need to download the Citrix installer to your computer that you're using. And then you need to double click open that Citrix file that was downloaded. So then the question is, Cody, what do you do with it then? Once you double click it, what happens?
It opens and it has a bunch of screens, but the first screen says, "Welcome to Bloomberg. Would you like to see a sample desktop?" And then that's it. The program launches.
But how do you log into Bloomberg then? Do you have to do it through Citrix, or do you do it through?
No, you don't do it through Citrix. You do it through after you go to. I gotta share my. You're going to Bloomberg.net.
Do you want me
That's-
to make you the host again? Do you want me to make?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I can't. Or can I? Or should I? Or what?
You can.
Okay.
I'm gonna disconnect it. Okay.
Tell your roommate to get off of Hulu.
So you see this screen, right?
Yeah. Okay, so everyone sees this. So basically, before Cody got to this, he went to the Bloomberg portal.bloombergforeducation.com. He got his terminal login. Then step one, after he's got that, the step one is go to bba.bloomberg.net. So that's the site he went to. Then he's typing in his login name and password, and then he would click login. But so did you do the Citrix step before this? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess if you're looking to download that file, wait for the connection to time out and it'll give you a link.
Oh, the thing that Karen saw.
Yeah, that. So download the file to open the file that you can't open, you know?
Okay, so Karen, I presume you downloaded that, is that correct?
Yeah. The file you can't open, I'm assuming, like, it says something .ica. I'm assuming it's something that only Citrix can run.
Oh, I see. So once you download that Citrix installer's piece of software,
Yes.
then when you log into Bloomberg anywhere the next time, it uses that Citrix installer that you put on your computer to read
log
whatever it needs to read to log in.
Yeah, to give you a different
Got you.
connection each
Okay.
time.
What's really weird though is last night I got on the terminal without doing this, which is weird.
Okay, so
No, maybe.
I'll get
Yeah.
into that. So after this, it brings you to this page where you have the option
Yep.
email, text, call. So
That's
I'm gonna
the infamous page. That's the
Real-
Russell theory.
real quick get my code, copy, paste it. And then it gives you the option. So there's launch Bloomberg Terminal and launch Bloomberg Terminal with Excel add-in. I haven't launched that yet.
I don't think you need to do that. That would
Yeah.
be, so you would use just so everyone knows, if you have other business courses right now, the second option works great if you want to like look at, a company's financial statements. You don't have to like type in the numbers. You can just have it directly brought into Excel. You can compare bond ratings for a whole bunch of companies, all that kind of stuff. That's when you would use the second option. Otherwise, the standard is just using the first option.
So I'll click launch, but you're not going to be able to see because it's only sharing my Firefox window, but it's opening a separate
Yep.
application. So
Yep.
it's
But so everyone sees this though, right? It says here, open downloaded launch.ica file to launch Bloomberg Terminal. That launch.ica file, it's being opened by that Citrix installer that would need to be on your computer.
He's shining. I opened
Yes.
Bloomberg terminal with the Citrix and then the launch file, and I got to a screen that says my subscription is being used by someone else.
Oh, interesting. So maybe we are at this point now fully. And what options is it giving you? Is it giving you the
It
option?
says the other user is Michael Bueso.
Hey, Michael. I wonder how they did that. So there's supposed to be a.
It says before I log in, I have to force the other user off, and then if I press, I can have an option to log in and force Michael.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah,
Michael's
Michael's on now. So, but I think what happened is that Michael logged in first. I'm assuming, right, Mike? You did, yeah. Wouldn't you?
Talking to me, Shining?
No, not you, Frese. No, Michael. Bukau.
I'm logged in.
I'm still
Yeah,
having
you're logged in.
trouble.
Okay. So outside of Levi, who does have this one, right? This is a possible issue because we're all logged in at the same time. It's possible to have run out of shared subscriptions. Outside of Levi's issue, which is actually, he got through all the way to the end. I'm just going to go through the list here. I think that's the easiest way to do this. Cody, we know you're good. Karen, what about you? Are you able to
I
get
only
logged
have
in?
the file, but I don't have the Citrix
Citrix.
installer. Yeah, that thing didn't download when the other file downloaded. I only have the BBA ICA, and every time I click it, it doesn't open.
Cody.
Yeah, and it
Oh,
won't.
sorry,
And then-
sorry, never mind.
And then I re-log in, and I try to click it like how Cody said, but it doesn't open.
Yeah,
It
and
just
it's not
restarts.
going to because it needs the Citrix thing to do anything.
So when
the
you
best way-
when
Oh,
you
go ahead,
downloaded
sorry.
the Citrix installer, did you can you check your downloads again to like, because it should, when you download the Citrix
Automatic.
installer, it's gonna download as a something.dmg, so you have to open that file to install Citrix.
Oh, okay. And then
This is going to be an application. This is what's going on right now. We're
Yeah.
downloading an app.
Yeah.
So after you open the DMG file, that's the Citrix file, it's gonna go through this like setup process on your computer. I don't know how it is on PC. I haven't tried it yet. But it should be pretty straightforward. Just say, okay, I haven't read anything either.
I'm on, Shining. I got in.
Okay, that's great. Okay. Jerry, what about you? Jerry, you're all good, right? Because I've seen you're actually doing stuff with it, right? Are you good?
Yeah, so far. But I have to do the Citrix thing too. I'm doing that right now.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay. Again, I'm just going through the list here of everyone, so don't get all hot and bothered. Levi, we know what your issue is, so just be patient. Michael Bukal, what about you?
Reese? Michael.
Well, I guess we could do Frese too, but Michael B.
Okay.
I'm logged in. I have a lot of windows open.
Okay, you're good then. What about you, Michael F?
I'm installing the Citrix Workspace app right now.
Good. Okay. What about you, Paige?
I
Where are
got
you
it.
at?
I'm in.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Okay, now I just want you to take a moment, everyone, and even if you don't appreciate it very much, at least think this is where, again, $72,000 of your federal tax dollars all went to getting us all this access for the year. And this access will not be turned off until they take the terminals away. So at this point, they're scheduled to be taken away at the end of July. So I'm not going to take away anyone's access. I'm not going to delist anyone. You're free to do whatever you want with it. The more we use it, the better, from my philosophy. At some point, I'll call it the Levi phenomenon. If we have enough people where like everyone's like all like we don't have enough licenses, then we might have to do the rule of like, you know, only stay on it for like an hour at a time, and if no one else is on it, then you can do it. We don't want a situation where Levi like fucks someone over and just like kicks someone else off. So the way that it's set up right now is when all the licenses are being used, a new user can come in and kick an existing user off. Bloomberg sold it as, right, like what if like Michael was like hungover, but he left his Bloomberg terminal open, then Levi could come in and like automatically log him off. But right, what if on the other hand Michael's like doing something very important and then Levi fucks him over? So we'll have to figure out some like etiquette of how to do this properly. But now here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show. Now we're gonna say this as well. Cody is gonna make a video that's gonna walk everyone through from the very, very first step. Hopefully none of you will have to see it, but if you're faking it right now and just saying, yeah, shining, bunch of windows, all good, right? And I'm buying it and everyone else is buying it, but you're like, oh man, I'm totally lying. Don't worry, Cody's gonna make a video as well. But let's just presume we're all good. Now, unfortunately, you don't have the super cool access like I have. I have the ability to install the app. Okay. So your screen is not going to look like this, but I want to get to one of the questions that Russell asked of like, okay, now what do I freaking do with this thing?
Oh, I got it. It's all good now.
Oh, perfect, excellent. But
Yeah.
right, one of Russell's fundamental questions was, I can't even look up a stock with this. Like, what's the point of this, thing going on? There are, in my opinion, in my very humble opinion, there are 4 cool things that you can do with a Bloomberg terminal. And by cool, I mean you can do it from everything from being the smartest person in the room kind of mentality to being super connected to just being on top of things, like really know what's going on. So the big thing would be, as you're all looking hopefully at my screen, would be that the news feature in Bloomberg is unparalleled. You basically
Wait,
can
that's Bloomberg on your screen right now?
Yeah, it is, but it's not going to look exactly like yours because
Mine's like the official, Bloomberg ugly orange font.
Yeah, mine is the iPad app, but none of you have access to the iPad app, so don't. I'm not trying to be elitist here. I'm just it's what I got. But the news, right? So one of the many windows that popped up is news. And with that, you're able to read like all the issues of most business magazines. So there's not People Magazine or Sports Illustrated, not that kind of stuff, but things like Barron's, things like Wall Street Journal, things like Bloomberg Business Week. All of those things are on there. Reuters, all of the news features are on there. You can stream CNBC. And all of or I'm sorry, not CNBC. You can stream Bloomberg, the Bloomberg television network, and the radio networks on your screen. You basically have all of the access to the news. So that's the first thing. Second thing is in Bloomberg, one of the other windows that would have popped up would have been the messaging system. So in the messaging system here, is that I can then send basically to you now that I know what, once we have a list of what each of your, and Cody, make this a to-do for yourself as well. Create a Google Sheets for us that just create the template and just put your name on there and then put your Bloomberg ID on there, because what I would be able to do, right, is that, so Cody, what is your Bloomberg, what's your terminal ID?
CREX 8.
Okay. Right, and this is actually better than even using, email, because basically you'll have a permanently preserved message in the Bloomberg system where you can attach anything, right? So the cool thing to this would be, right, like if I get this really great investment idea and I like looked at the charts and I sketched some things out, I can just send him that image using this. But then what the cool thing is that when he gets it, right, he can actually open it with all the updated data, not just like a static screenshot, but a screenshot that's continually updated with the data. And I could do that with this, because what I would be able to do here, so that's all in the message feature, MSG. Now, for all of you, when you're looking on your screen of what you're seeing here, obviously I had a very pretty way of doing it. But for all of you, one of the other windows that would have popped up, all the windows that popped up, would have been a menu screen. Another way to try to find it would be you can type in, you could just try typing in AAPL. If you try typing in AAPL into the menu window, it'll start to give you, as you start to type it in, it has kind of like a smart search kind of feature where it'd be able to say like AAPL, like do you want the bond offerings? Do you want the equity offerings? Do you want news for that company? Like what are you looking for as you're starting to type that in? So obviously here, mine again looks a little bit prettier than what you're seeing, but again, I'm getting far better data than I would ever get from Yahoo Finance or even Google Finance. And I know that because this data is heavily paid for. But also too, again, as I scroll here, I can see who owns most of the company. Vanguard is actually the largest holder of the company, holding about 7% of the shares. I can see who's all on the board of trustees. Trying to think here of what, I mean, so so there's two things that you can be, so now as you're all kind of seeing this for the first time, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. It is like a big, you know, I really don't know how else to describe it except it really is a big, like, it's just a whole bunch of fucking windows. I don't know how else to describe it. But one of the first things I do, because I'm not using a dual panel, Levi will be okay because he's got 2 screens. But for the rest of us poor folks who only have 1 screen, I just start by closing a bunch of windows. I mean, that's how I kind of do it. Windows
Whoa, I don't have 2 screens yet. I'm not
You
there
don't
yet.
have 2 screens? Oh, I thought you
No.
had 2 screens for all your gaming and your.
You gotta watch out though, because if you close one of the screens, it might shut down the whole app.
It does.
That's
Right.
Yeah.
So Russell's exactly correct. You do have to be careful about windows you close. It should warn you, but if you're just like getting closing heavy,
Yeah,
you could
it does warn you.
a window that closes out your access. Yep. So there's 2 ways you should approach this. One, it is really okay to feel like it's overwhelming at first, but just like the first time you went on the internet when you were like a youngin', right? It seems overwhelming at first, and you get used to it. You're not going to break it. You're not going to. All that I'm really holding you responsible for is doing the Bloomberg market concepts. So right. So if you're, I'm going to pick on one of you, right? If you're Karen and you're like, this totally looks like something I don't even want to deal with. This just looks scary. You know what? She doesn't have to do anything with it. The minimum that she needs to do is go to that portal.bloomberg for education website and just do the Bloomberg market concepts, which is just videos. All she has to do is watch videos and just pound through those modules. That's all she has to do, right? But the other idea is that maybe by watching those, she'll get like more comfortable using this. Sorry, Karen, right? But she'll get more comfortable using this, or right, she can just know that she never wants to deal with this again. But again, the idea is that if you're just willing to just like play around with it, the idea is that what I'm hoping is that in future weeks of this class, you can be like, Scheiding, this is a screenshot of what I saw. Can you help me try to understand what this is? Or can you try to show me through Bloomberg how I could find an answer to this question, right? So, right, going back to like the thing we were talking about last week. I know it looks so cool on my screen, right, that I could quickly look at things this way. I know, but it's too expensive to give you access this way, unfortunately. If you're curious how much it costs after you graduate. Yeah, it costs over $3,000 a month. So you'd obviously have to be.
It's working pretty good on my computer. It's a little buggy, but
yeah, no, it's just not going to look as pretty as what I'm looking at. But yeah, it's going to do the job.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But right, so again, remember how we were talking about Snowflake last week, right?
Yeah.
You could start to look at this, right? And you could say, Scheiding, how can I find out who actually bought this? How could I try to find out what the options trading are, right? Like, you could ask those kinds of questions, and as the weeks go on here, we could try to work on those kinds of questions together. The idea is that some of you I know are not in business. Some of you are, psych majors. Some of you are accounting. Some of you are business. You're all going to have different kinds of questions, but we can actually use this Bloomberg access and find answers to all the questions in all those different ways.
By the way, that trade would have paid off. Remember you asked me what
I know. It would have. There's only one way though. It would have paid off if you were fortunate enough.
Oh yeah. It went down fast, didn't it?
Yeah, because if you didn't, now again,
the timing.
With IPOs, I haven't bought an IPO since. Well, it's been a while. I haven't bought an IPO since 2014.
Which one was that? Which IPO?
That
you
was
remember?
a company that ended up going private. It was a
like when you decide to buy in, like the first day.
Yep.
Like there's no history. So when you do that, like you're basing your analysis strictly fundamentally, right?
Yeah, you almost have to. So the problem with so Russell brings up a very good question, right? So when you decide to buy an IPO, there's really two types of people that are trying to get in there at that time, and then those two different people are going to have two different sources of information. So let's talk about what that would be. When I got into it, the ticker symbol was Q, and it was a pharmaceutical testing company. It was based out of Roanoke, Virginia. It ended up going private, so they don't even exist. They went back to being private. What was I think the ticker symbol was just Q. Sorry, I'm just going to look at it because it's really going to bother me if I don't look it up.
I'm trying to look it up. But...
really quick. So when I bought that, and I think it was 2014 when I bought it, I was a person that knew I was going to hold on to it. So because I knew I was going to hold on to it, it's, as Russell pointed out, it's actually really difficult to get information because unfortunately what a company does before it does IPO for everyone means initial public offering. By the time it's gone initial public offering, the business has existed for 5 to 10 years, right? And it's the information about the company is actually very private. It's very expensive to get a hold of. So you really don't know very much about the company. And what I could find out about it was that basically they had very good revenue growth on testing, pharmaceutical testing. It was a company that did like like when you're testing out a new medicine and you have to do those like human subject runs, kind of things like that. They were basically very good at if Johnson & Johnson doesn't want to do it and they just want to outsource it to this company, this is the company that was really good and was the leader in doing that. And I just thought to myself, you know what, like in terms of elasticity of demand, it's probably pretty inelastic. So there's enough barriers to entering that space that the company wasn't going to get a lot of new competitors. So I was able to kind of step into that without knowing enough information just because I knew that the barriers to entry and the elasticity that it was pretty inelastic. So I pretty much knew it wasn't going to be a bad bet. The time before that I got into an IPO was American Airlines. And before you say, well, American Airlines existed before, yes, it did, but that's because I got back into it after it went bankrupt. It
Heading.
basically offered its shares again. Yeah,
I have a question. Okay.
sure.
This has to do with the senior project, though.
Yes.
So I sent you my idea on a
Yep.
paper,
Yep.
but you just sparked something that I was thinking about. So is it possible I could do a research paper on the insider trading that happened right the week before 9/11 in American Airlines and the United Airlines stocks? There was large volumes in the put options in these stocks. So somebody had foresight, and there's research papers about this. There's a bunch of information. So I was thinking maybe of switching my topic to that. Is that?
Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, and Bloomberg will have the information. Bloomberg market data goes all the way back to the late 70s, early 80s. So you'll totally be able to look up everything you want to look up at.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
So a second way of doing this would be, like, if I had to get into Snowflake not knowing anything about this company, well, then I'd just be saying I need to get into it and get out of it pretty quickly. You know, and the only way you're going to do that is by making friends with brokers, brokers that have an allotment of shares that they're going to give to either their best customers, which isn't going to be me, or their friends, which could possibly be me, right? I mean, that would be the other way to do it. It's not fair, and before any of you say that's not fair, it's absolutely not fair. I'm well aware of that. And that would have been the people that would have been able to get into the space before it got to 235. Because again, remember, it opened at 110, right? So between 110 and 250, it looks like it got up to as high as 239? No, but yeah, still, but 250 something, right? Close to 250. Right? I mean, the only way people made money there was they got in and got out, right? Or you could try to do the options and whatnot, but
I want to ask you this. So
yeah.
So do you have like a preconceived value in the form of a stock price before the IPO, and then once the IPO is starting the trade that day, and let's say it opens like way above your initial value number, do you still buy in, or even the reverse? Let's say it's even lower.
Yes, that's a good question. You need to get a good sense from the company of how they're trying to price it and how it's being priced. So remember, the company itself doesn't price the IPO. What happens is that the banks, the investment banks that are taking the company public, they are the ones that price it. And it's a very inexact science, because you can look at companies. It's not absolutely the case that every company will increase on the day that it has its IPO. There are certainly many examples where it does not. And obviously that's a pretty
that's the risk, right?
sign. Yeah, it's a demoralizing sign.
Right.
But what you're trying, I mean, when Snowflake was priced at 110, the bankers absolutely knew that it was not going to settle at 110. They knew they were going to make more than that on the shares.
That's why I would like to see
go on.
Price action. Like I want to see it trade for a while to establish value. You know what I mean?
Well, so what happened then? Yeah, so what happens is that the investment bank then said, okay, 110 is going to be the IPO price. And then what happens on the first day on the IPO is that there's a trading desk that's going to be managing Snowflake. And the buyers and sellers show up at that trading desk, right, with the people yelling, you know, buy, buy, sell, sell. They show up at that, and that's where the market and the market participants then can affirm what the investment banks valued it at, right? And in this case, they'd be saying 110, are you fucking crazy? It should be 250, right?
Right. Right,
but
right.
that's not always the case because again, there are other companies that, right when Facebook first came out, you had that increase, but very quickly after a month or so, the share price was
Hold on.
going down. Exactly. Right. And then there are other companies though that realize, Russell, here's another idea though too. If you like that idea, that's one. But you could also look at various ways that companies do the IPO, because Google, when it had to price its shares initially, it did a reverse auction. It did a Dutch auction to actually price its shares.
Do you know what a wall? I don't even know how to say it. A Walrasian
Of
auction.
all Asian. Yep.
Yeah, I was just reading about that. I was like, what the heck is this? And they spoke about Dutch auctions and all these different type of market price discovery processes. It's pretty cool.
So the price discovery process in this, you as the company, you in negotiation with the investment bank that's taking you public, the two of you get to decide how you're going to price this. Now remember, the investment banker is not your friend. The investment banker is like a lawyer or a real estate agent, right? I mean, they somewhat have your interests at heart because
Imagine being a banker. What kind of person is a banker?
Well, so a banker is basically, I mean, on some level, they're extrovert extraordinaires. They're good at numbers, and they can hold their liquor. I mean, that's what they're good at.
So wait. So what are you talking about this? I didn't know that IPOs were different.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know there was a decision for an auction process or.
Yep.
I didn't
So
know
all of that is up for grabs in that initial negotiation when you have to decide who your investment banker is going to be, and on top of that, you have to decide which market you're going to go on. Are you going to do NASDAQ? Are you going to do NYSE?
Right.
So there's a bunch of different negotiations here. But again, if you go into this like wide-eyed, I'm sure this wasn't the case. I'm not blaming them. I'm just trying to think of like the most hickish kind of company that's on the stock market. Is anyone
railroad company?
If anyone's ever driven through Nebraska, you would know it's a whole lot of nothing. And as you're driving through Nebraska, once you leave Omaha, it's a bunch of nothing until at the very far west end, you get to the headquarters of Cabela's, which is this like large, like, for people that like, shoot bears and like go fishing, things like that. It's like an outdoorsy kind of place, outdoors place. They basically own the city in Nebraska that does this. But I'm sure when they had their IPO, not that they were totally like New York City, like I'm sure they weren't that naive, but I'm sure they were a little bit more naive than some of like a WeWork, right? Which obviously really knew how to pull the levers to try to get what they wanted. Everything is up for grabs when you want to go public. The company, if they are valuable enough, they have pull. And that's exactly what Google was able to do. When Airbnb has its IPO probably this year, it will have pull, right? Because it's supposed to be the biggest of the year when it finally does do it.
I think you got to check out Zoom. The stock price. It's currently 492 all-time high today.
But it's still nowhere near on a price earnings ratio, still nowhere near as expensive as Snowflake.
See that?
Zoom used to be the highest. Now it's the second highest.
Isn't it amazing though? Like just this pandemic has made everyone use this app and the stock has literally, let me see, on a percentage basis, since March, it was $100. Now it's 492. That's 388% gain.
But think about so let's talk about what Zoom does really well, and then let's talk about where the money is.
That's
right? What does it do well?
It
does very well that it has a very good tiered pricing structure so that big businesses pay for it, and then like all y'all, right, didn't pay for it. But I paid for, well, the university pays for it for me to be able to do all the fancy stuff like, you know, recording it and saving the recording and transcribing it, right? I can have like, you know, thousands of people on the screen at the same time, right? I can do lots of fancy things. But if one of you wanted to host a meeting, right, your features are less because you're not paying for it. But there's, quite honestly, there's not enough people like myself, and there's too many of you, right? Not enough people paying for it. So they have to find some way to monetize it. And that's the problem here, right? That's why, you know, the PE ratio is as high as it is, because the denominator, the E, the earnings, are not big enough yet, right? Because what they need to do now, right, is that we've all, fortunately, right, Zoom is now a verb, right? Just like, you know, someone saying Facebook me or something like that, right? You can say, let's do a Zoom, and it makes sense, right? So now they need to really latch on to that, because if you think about who the big players were before Zoom, it was Skype, right? I don't even know what I would have used before Skype. I don't think there was anything I used before Skype. Now, I've been using Zoom since before the pandemic, so I'm not saying I was an early adopter, but it was actually pretty cool when I started using it. I was using it back to when Levi and I had intermediate back long ago. Yeah, I mean, they have an earnings issue, so I don't, you know, it's going to be uncertain how they're going to maximize this. But see, again, these are all the cool things, right? You can read these news stories to try to get a sense of what is the market talking about. But now you can also, again, do the scrolling, and you can start to, in one page, get all the things in terms of what's the conference call, what are the earnings, what are the financials telling me, what are the analysts saying to me about what's going on, what are the estimates of how things are going to be in the future, what are the analysts saying, who owns it, right? And just start working through all of those things in a deliberate fashion. And again, as Russell points out, when the company is IPO, you don't have any of this information. You get that information as you're, you know, as you're working through it, as you start to get more trading days. So at this point, Snowflake doesn't have that many trading days, right? With Zoom, we have a year of trading days. I mean, look at that, though. We have some share prices here for Zoom. If we go back to its IPO last year, man, it would have been good if we would have gotten in it, right? At 36 a share, you would have made 10 times your money. Yeah, it sucks to be us, huh? That would have been quite a ride quite a wave to ride. Yeah. So I don't want to go too long today, because I actually want you to take, there are these other cool features too, where again, you can do worksheets and you can start to work through things here. You can start to get your watch list going. Your things will be saved here. So for all of you, you can start to, your screen is your own. So you have a launch. One thing you could look at on the web would be like Bloomberg launch screens, and you can basically customize a launch screen so that when it opens up, it's not like that big fuckfest of windows, that you get something a little bit cleaner that opens up. So start to think about the ways you could customize it if you want to start doing that. But really, the big thing I want you all to be working on is I really want you to all be working on the Bloomberg Market Concepts Terminal 1. I will check in online and see what you're all doing. But my hope, my really big hope would be that I would see that most of you have gotten through module 1, which is a pretty easy module to get through. And again, I'm going to keep posting the videos for the CFA part of this. I'm up through chapter 6, I believe. So I'm going to keep posting those videos. But the Bloomberg market concepts, that's an easier certification to get. And if you really focus, you can get that pretty quick. The last thing I'm going to say just for today, because again, I don't really have a big long lecture today. Because again, I'm thinking about Snowflake. I'm thinking about all the things we're talking about. Tesla the other week is, again, just think back to the really long line again of, right, we are still in a bull market pretty much, right? And so those bull markets, as the line goes, the bull markets are born on pessimism. If we think about the bull market that we're on right now, which basically effectively ended in March, right? That was actually the end of the bull market that we'd had. That bull market that ended in March had started back in the financial crisis. So it was born on pessimism. So that the first part is bull markets are always born on pessimism. So it was born out of the financial crisis. It grows on skepticism. That skepticism would have been in 2011, 2012, when, for instance, the federal government defaulted on its debt, at least temporarily, or at least there were those budget negotiations, that at least the credit rating was brought down, right? There was all those concerns about, are banks going to be able to pass its stress tests? So that was the skepticism in which the market grew. It matures on optimism. So that would be like 2014, 2015, 2016, right? Where the market is quite optimistic about how great things are. And then even in the Trump era, right? If anything, now we have that euphoria, right? That optimism and euphoria. And the question really is, right? The markets did increase so quickly back from March, is now we need to really make sense of how can the markets be back to where they were in February, when we might think that the markets have fundamentally changed. Unfortunately, as I say that, right, that a bull market dies on euphoria. That's the last part of this quote. Bull markets are born on pessimism, grow on skepticism, mature on optimism, die on euphoria. With that last part of the quote, unfortunately, we have no way of knowing when we're in a bubble until it pops. But when you think of that quote, bull markets being born, growing, maturing, and dying, I want you to take also very careful note that the words we're using here, pessimism, skepticism, optimism, euphoria, none of that involves a fundamental or technical analysis. Meaning, the Scheidings in the world that are looking at the numbers, or the Russells in the world that are looking at the numbers, we are always going to end up being frustrated, because it's actually all about the psyche of the market and the psyche of the market participants and how they feel, and whether they feel pessimistic, skeptical, optimistic, or euphoric. That's actually what's driving the numbers. And as frustrated as I am, and will still always be, and as I'm sure Russell will be, and Jerry, probably you will be, it's just the nature of the way that the market works. So to the extent that you can then use the Bloomberg terminals to try to get a sense of what the market participants all think, that's going to be the way that you kind of are able to profit from this. Okay, with that all said, to get out of this, get back into this. Okay, so with that all said, I'm going to end it here just because I'm also, I have to watch my kids. I'm kind of ending things early, but also, as I told my wife, I said I kind of wanted people to be able to play on the Bloomberg terminals. I will still log out last, but if you're going to ask me a more technical question, I may say to you, let's log in slightly later. Michael of the Freses, you and I don't know what your schedule is for the rest of the evening. But I could actually do our phone call tonight. I'm going to stop the recording at this point, but I'm going to log off